What is going on, YouTube? We're going to roll hard into 2024, talking about collection addiction once again. And today we're going to go over the basics a little more. Now, if you guys have been following the channel for the last year or so, we really started diving into this once I admitted to the public, to YouTube, to a lot of people that as much as I have been sober for 10 years, I still suffer with addiction every day. And whether that be through collecting video games, working out, and energy drinks, caffeine, whatever, addiction really still pops its ugly head in all the time. So the YouTube channel is really focused more on kind of the mental health behind it and just talking about it in general, because a lot of times the only way we can heal, guys, is if we talk about it. So if you think you have any kind of retro game collection addiction, toy collection addiction, or anything like that, stay tuned, guys, because we're going to talk more about that here. So I want to move on over now. We're going to talk about just the basic what the dictionary.com says as addiction. So it's the state of being compulsively addicted to a habit or practice, or to something that is psychologically or physically habit forming, such as narcotics, to such an extent that is sensationally causes severe trauma. So what does that mean? So addiction in general is basically you become so adapted to and loving something that your brain craves it. So a lot of times that's why we say that this becomes a disease, because essentially you just become so hooked on something that you can't stop. Now, like I just said earlier, I'm celebrating 10 years sober. At one point in my life, I was addicted to alcohol. I was addicted to meth, and I finally checked into a rehab facility and started going to meetings and worked my way through it. But it is a mental altering thing that happens. So even though I gave up, probably what people would say the worst addiction ever, I still find myself constantly getting hooked on it, and it's all psychological. Like right here, it causes severe trauma because it affects everybody around you, guys. It's not just you that it affects everybody around you. So when I started talking about the retro game collection addiction part of this, I went into a background talking more about how that at one point it started off small, like any kind of addiction, guys. It started off small. It was my buddy got some retro games. I wanted to get some retro games, so I went to my mother's house, and I, dug out my old Nintendo. I dug out my old Sega Genesis, and I just wanted to go back and forth about getting games that I used to own. So that was the first step, I got all the games I used to own. I got them, and I'm like, I didn't even play them. We'll talk more about that too, but I didn't even play them. I just kind of got them out. I played them for like maybe 10 minutes and called it good. And then something else awoken inside me. We got to the point where then it was, okay, well, I loved going over to my buddy's house when I was younger and playing Super Nintendo. So I want to get a Super Nintendo next and get all the games that I didn't have then. And I'm not going to go into exact details about all that, but that's how the snowball started, guys. Then I started watching people on YouTube, and I seen their collections, and I wanted to have a great collection too. And the thrill of game hunting, because that was the best way to get the games, because obviously I don't have extreme disposable income at this time, so I had to basically go game hunting. I was going to Goodwills every day. I was going to thrift stores, secondhand stores. We don't really have any flea markets around here, but we have buildings that are kind of like flea markets, so I was checking them out. And before I knew it, I started actually amassing a decent amount of games, but I still wasn't playing them. And it was getting to the point where it was affecting me outside of game collecting itself. So I would wake up, look at Mercari, look at eBay, plan my day for hunting. All of this was distracting me from my family, my other duties, my job, and everything like that. It was basically forcing me to, like I said, cause severe trauma. But this was not actually severe at the time. Now, a lot of people, when they start getting into this stuff, they go all out, and I've had people reach out to me on Instagram and everything, talking about how they've maxed out credit cards, they've sold stuff. They're, just sold stuff that they kind of needed because they wanted to keep game hunting, because they're always looking for that next high, the next rush, that next pink cloud feeling. And I actually saw a YouTube video a couple weeks ago where some guy actually sold a bunch of his kids' stuff to go buy video games because he was so addicted to it. He had to constantly be buying stuff. And then a lot of people, if they got that hoarder mentality too, then it's worse, because then you have this stuff and you don't want to get rid of it, guys. So are you addicted to retro game collecting or collecting in general? I don't want to jump too much into the other substances and stuff like that. So since this is retro gaming and a gaming channel in general, we'll just kind of keep going on that. So when you gotta ask yourself if you're addicted to game hunting, if you're addicted to collecting, is it something that you feel like you have to do every day? Can you not take a break from it? When people can sometimes just be like, one day be like, you know what, I'm gonna take a week off from this. I'm not gonna do this. I'm just gonna kind of back it off. Then a lot of times it's kind of like with like cigarettes and everything like that. If you're not doing it all the time, are you really addicted to it? But so that's one thing you gotta ask yourself too. And another thing you gotta ask yourself is it consuming your life? Like we talked about, do you have to do it daily? Is it distracting you from your family? Is it distracting you from your friends? Is it distracting you from your job? Have you thought about calling in because somebody on Facebook or something like that just posted that they have a bunch of video games and they're like 3 hours away and you have to go to work soon? Are you calling in sick because you want to go after that? Are you, dodging your kids' sports games? Are you dodging, a date night with your wife or husband? Are you doing all this other stuff that you're physically and mentally checked out? And yeah, it's stuff like that. And also, another big indication too is, are you bleeding your accounts dry? Are you spending more money than you have on this stuff? And because the biggest word that I saw in here is something that I've dealt with, is compulsiveness. And that was what a lot of my stuff was. I would set goals for myself. I would set, standards down for myself. But in the heat of the moment, I was so compulsive that I just would do it. So I would go to Spencer, we call it Spencer, it's a local or a town here, and they got Goodwill and stuff there, and I'd be like, okay, I'm not going to go to Goodwill today. I'm not going to go to this. But then I'd get there and, have an appointment or something like that and be like, well, I don't have to be there for another 30 minutes, so what's the harm in going? Why? Why did I feel like I had to go? Because of the compulsiveness. And that's the same with online shopping and stuff like that. That's very dangerous for a person like this that would be addicted to collecting. Because you think you see a deal pop up and you get, like I said, the fear of missing out, FOMO, and you feel like you have to buy it because you might never see it again. And I'm here to tell you, you'll always see it again. It'll come back. They always come back around. But that's the big thing, is your compulsiveness to have to do it. And then when you see good deals like that, you feel like you have to buy them because, like you said, you don't think they're going to come around. So you use more money than you want to use. And like I said, I'm not a doctor. I guess I haven't said that in this video, but if you watch pets, I'm not a doctor, guys. I'm not an extreme expert in this. I didn't go to school for any of this. I'm just sharing personal experiences that I had, my knowledge of what goes on with this, and just like I said, personally, 10 years of sobriety has kind of shown me some of this stuff and sometimes how to deal with it. I deal with addiction every day. Like I said, whether it be, having to go to the gym, caffeine, and in the past, retro game collecting. And as of right now, I really haven't been buying any games. I've talked about this on the channel. At one point, you guys probably could have looked behind me and seen stacks and stacks of games. Now it's whittling down, and I've actually just kind of been putting the money out to the side for other stuff. Like I've told people in springtime they're going to have to dig up my sewer, so I'm going to need a bunch of money for that. So I've been kind of just being smarter with it. And I just kind of one day just, maybe it's the compulsiveness and going in the opposite way. I just woke up one morning and I'm like, why do I have all these games? I'm not playing them. They're just sitting there. Why? And yeah, guys, that's what I'm just saying is I can't heal you. But what people don't understand is the few of the top things about addiction and trying to get over it is, one, you have to admit it. If you are addicted, if you feel like you are addicted, I can't tell you if you are. Some people have messaged me asking that, am I addicted? Am I addicted? And it's like, I can't tell you that you are, but if you feel like you are, if you feel it, then you probably are. But admitting it is obviously the first step to any kind of addiction issue. Is, yes, I'm addicted to this. Is the first admission. And then after that, one of the more popular things to do is obviously talk about it. I've said in my past videos at the ends and middles of whatever, that if you have a problem with it and you need somebody to talk to and you don't, sometimes it's not good to talk to, what do I want to say, close friends, family and stuff about this stuff, because it's not very comfortable. You can down the road talk to them about it, but if you need to talk to a stranger, that's why the meetings I thought worked very good, like AA and stuff like that, is because a lot of times you're just talking to complete strangers. So you could tell them exactly what you would want to tell them, and chances are you might never see them again, or chances are that they might not even been paying attention. But because you got it off your chest, it made you feel a lot better. So if you guys need to talk to anybody about this, you can get a hold of me through Instagram. You can DM me. I will not share names. I will not talk about it outside of Instagram unless it's okay with you. But even then, I usually hide people's names. I just kind of tell their story and I talk a little bit about it and kind of react. And if you ever need to talk about that, feel free to reach out on Instagram, guys. Like I said, I'm here to listen. If you want my advice, I'll give you my advice. If you just want to vent, talk about it, just shoot me a DM. But with that being said, guys, we're going to shut off the video today. This was just kind of a re-up talking about the retro game collecting addiction and what it is going into 2024. It was a very good subject for 2023, and people were loving it. And I love talking about it because, like I said, I have so much experience in it, and it helps me daily if I keep talking about it as well. So, that being said, guys, happy 2024. Thank you guys so much for a great 2023, and welcome to anybody that's new to the channel within the last few weeks or days. I've been focusing a lot on the mental health of stuff lately, and it's been feeling great for me, and I hope that you guys are enjoying it as well. So with that being said, guys, once again, thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. As always, stay retro, and I will see you in the next video.